go. And as ugly as it looks in the beginning, again, we just kind of have to let her, when they go through such extreme, like, panic with something like this, because I really didn't even do anything yet. She said, "Who are you?" "Hello, ma'am. Nice to see you." What kind of medication did they have her on? Many.
Yeah, they
tried all the cocktails and
nothing worked. Some would make her crazy.
Okay.
Like they tried trazodone, gabapentin, like all the common ones.
Okay.
Reconcile,
Fluoxetine probably.
Yes,
and
every anxiety med.
Okay.
We just never saw enough change, and then a lot of them like just had other side effects. So like she's a picky eater as it is, and a lot of them like suppress her appetite, and then she wouldn't eat.
Okay.
So like that would be an issue. So I mean, we took her because one of her first issues was she had bad separation anxiety.
Okay.
And then that kind of like solved itself. Like she was okay for a long time. And then she didn't need the meds for that.
Yeah.
So it was like that was the first problem, and now that's like okay. I mean, she doesn't love when we leave, but
Sure.
more like the biggest concern is obviously the handling.
So I think I saw she goes, once she's in the kennel, she's fine.
Yeah.
But she'll kind of hide
She hides
before.
and she does really bad.
And then if she's hiding somewhere and you were to try to get her, she would get nippy and.
She'll growl, yeah.
Okay.
So like we just I at least put the leash on when I know I'm gonna leave.
Sure.
So that I can like just pull the leash to get her out from under wherever she is.
Now you're wearing it like a sash. I mean, that'll work, I suppose.
So
I know. It's so upsetting. You're gonna be okay, though, I promise. I know. It's really tough. You'll be okay. I promise. So, a lot of times with this kind of stuff, you don't even really have to, like, correct it necessarily. She just has to learn that, like, it's not gonna accomplish what she wants it to.
yeah.
I know, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine. Oh!
Uh-oh.
I know. Take a deep breath. She said, "This is me calm." What are you talking about? I know. Somehow you still haven't slipped out of that, which is kind of impressive. Your one ear is hanging on for dear life with that thing. There you go. And as ugly as it looks in the beginning, again, we just kind of have to let her, when they go through such extreme, like, panic with something like this, because I really didn't even do anything yet.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's almost like she just thinks something is going to happen, and then she just completely melts down.
Yes.
That it's like, I have to let her kind of work through this to figure out that, like, you couldn't get away, and still nothing terrible happened.
Yeah. Right.
You are just fine.
Right.
And I'm sure with all of the work you did with, like, behaviorists and everything, you probably heard a lot of, like, avoid threshold, avoid threshold.
Yes.
But as you've seen, that doesn't really actually teach them how to deal with stress.
Right.
So, like, stress is a part of life, and we can't live in a bubble. And so I would much rather introduce small amounts of stress in a way where I can help her work through that and improve on it and deal with it and cope in a better way, rather than avoid until you can't, and then she has to get groomed. She has to go to the vet, and it's just this complete and utter disaster. Or we have to put an unnecessary amount of stress on her physical body by sedating her all the time. Like, we don't want to have to do that.
Right.
I know. Just take a deep breath, my dear.
I mean, that's the thing, is like, then it ends up being stressful for us, like, as
Yes.
because like, if she gets sick, I'm like, well, what are they gonna do?
Exactly.
Like, this is a process now, every time.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, imagine that, like, she gets injured,
Yes.
and you guys need to pick her up and take her
Yeah.
to the vet or do something, and now she's trying to bite you, or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, because
Right.
she's in pain and all that kind of stuff. So
Right.
there's just things in life that you have to learn how to deal with, Luna,
Yeah.
and you'll be okay.
Yeah, I get it. I mean,
Very
there's
nice.
so much out there about, like, the
Yes.
different, like, approaches, and I brought my other dog here, like, and so I know that,
Yep.
like, especially with her not being motivated by food, it's so hard to do, like, positive reinforcement, because she
Yeah.
just, like, doesn't hit, when she's stressed, it's over.
Yep. And a lot of times too, like, and we will use food at a certain point with her, and
Yeah.
what'll be fun is that we'll actually see her enjoy it more and be much more motivated by it,
Yeah.
because we'll get all of this, like,
Right.
stress out of the way first.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's like, I can't, like, if I, like you said, if I started trying to use, like, food now to, like, oh, let me, like, touch you and then I give you a treat,
Yes.
like, she's not going to want it.
Right.
And it's just going to make the situation worse.
Yeah.
But if I can get some of this nonsense out of the way initially
Right.
and get her into a much better headspace, then we can actually start to do a little bit of the positive reinforcement. Good job. Just like, oh, great. Here we go again. That was better. Good job. And you'll be able to tell, so, like, see her panting.
Yep.
Obviously she's stressed, but the
Yeah.
panting indicates that, like, she's not tense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you'll see how, like, when I move my hand closer, she stopped panting for that
Yeah.
second. So I tend to like to try to push it just enough that I can tell she's uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and then allow her the space to kind of choose one way or the next.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so give her a chance to kind of de-escalate from that behavior.
Right.
And obviously, if she tries to bite, it's not going to work. The irony of you trying to get away from my hand and climbing in my lap.
Yeah.
She said, I know, there's no logic to what I'm doing. It's okay. Good job. And yes, at a certain point, is it less her being okay with it and more her just being utterly exhausted, that she doesn't have the ability to fight me anymore?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not denying that. But we're still then accomplishing her getting the picture of me being near her and touching her and her not having to defend herself
Yeah.
and it being fine. And usually what will happen is she'll get a little bit nastier, and it's almost kind of like a last-ditch effort
Yeah.
before It's kind of like with kids and temper tantrums. Like, once you finally put your foot down and you don't give them what they want, it's like the temper tantrum gets way worse before they finally give up.
Right. Like, okay, I'm not getting it.
Exactly. So like that, she was like real nasty, and then now she's like, well, shoot, I guess.
This isn't going away.
Exactly. She's like, this is going to happen whether I really want it to or not.
She can be very sweet.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like,
I'm sure. When she wants to be.
Yes, on her terms.
On her terms. Yep. Good job. And now when she tries to leave, I'm just using the leash to bring her back, but ideally, like you're seeing, I don't want to have to use force to keep her here while I'm touching her.
Yeah.
If she decides when I touch that she would rather walk away, I'm going to let her initially do that and then bring her back and try again, because her walking away and choosing to avoid is a much preferable more choice than her immediately trying to bite me. So I'll give her the win in that moment and then just bring her back and be like, but also you don't have to avoid me because I'm not going to do anything terrible to you.
Yeah.
Good job. Luna, we're going to be besties. She said, I don't know about that.
Once she finally does warm up to people, she is like,
they're in.
But like I said, it's just been like, it doesn't matter who it is when they go to do something like that she doesn't want to do, even when it's us, like her favorite people. So.
Yeah. It's like ultimately when it comes down to it, Luna gets to decide.
Which, like Dave was saying when I talked to him, like that's almost better because then it's like less about the person and more about like, it's just
the thing. Yes, and honestly, I agree with him, because there's some dogs that it's like it's more about their relationship with the person more than it is about the thing itself. Right. But if she's like, these hands are rated E for everybody.
Because my question for him was like, okay, so obviously ideally I'd like to be able to get her groomed like a regular dog, but like how does that transfer from here to like a groomer, right? And like, but that's what he was saying, like if it's more about just like the process and not who's doing it.
Yes. Yeah, then you'll have better luck. And some of it is finding, like there are groomers that kind of specialize in behavioral cases that are more willing to work on it, you know? So sometimes you just kind of have to call around and be like brutally honest with them and be like, listen, my dog's kind of a basket case with grooming. We're doing training, we're making a lot of good progress, but like I need a groomer who's not going to like give into her nonsense and just make her do it, you know? And we'll do muzzle training with her. So that way in those contexts you can send her in a muzzle. So that way they feel more confident like persisting through these little temper tantrums. But I agree with David. Like I think that one of the things we can do for her is throughout the sessions have a bunch of people do it. You know, so we can kind of prove that like, okay, so it's not just me and you guys that she tolerates because she knows. We can have a brand new person do it and see like, is she going to tolerate it from a brand new person, or are they going to have to go through that same process and that kind of thing. She said, listen, grabbing my feet is a whole nother thing.
And see, like even us, like she doesn't mind us touching her feet.
Yeah.
I don't know if that like paw is still bothering her from what they did.
Which foot is it?
It's her front left. Yeah.
Front left? Okay.
Yeah. The one on her right doesn't have a big paw anymore.
Come on up. That's fine.
Like even the behavior is what it's like.
Really?
She's like a literal doctor, like that.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm not gonna do anything.
Is she
now.
uncomfortable,
like,
or is she like scared of her? Or could you figure out why?
She's made it seem like everything was like, they kept saying like, come in for happy visits, like bring her in so that she can have like happy experiences.
Well,
the whole time we were there, just like toss treats to her, and then like they were like, first we need to try the meds and do all this clicker training at home. And I honestly tried it. Like
I'm sure you
did.
did.
Things that they
I'm
told
sure
me
you did.
Get the touch her with the scissors, click this
Yeah.
and that, and like I just felt like we weren't getting anywhere to be like.
Yeah, someone just needed to do this.
Yeah.
Like, girl, pull it together.
I will say, like, one vet at North Royalton, who's the original vet that we started her with, like, left. So the one time she was sick and we had to bring her in, and that vet seemed more like, I'm gonna pick her up, I'm not gonna be afraid of her. And I was like, yeah, I don't care what you do, I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
And she, by the end, was holding her, and she did say, like, I feel confident that I could give her a vaccine.
Yeah.
Like, she's not gonna like it. She's like, but I think I can do it. Like,
yeah.
So she seemed more willing to work with it. But
that's good.
We've seen other ones like there, and they're just literally like.
Yeah.
They want to sedate her to even bring her in, and I'm like.
Yeah.
It makes her so sick. I'm not doing that every little time.
Yeah. No. Well, and a lot of times too, it's like. There you go. Good job. They like really they get stuck in this like, oh, we need them to feel good about it.
Yeah, right.
She doesn't need to feel good about it right now. She just needs to let me do it.
Right.
And then eventually I'll get her to where she can feel good about it. But right now, she just needs to let me do it.
Right, because like nothing is hurting her.
Nothing is hurting. Yes, and that's the thing is like you have to like zoom out and look at the full context.
Yeah.
Like, this is fine.
Yes.
She's not in danger.
Right.
Nothing crazy is happening.
Yes.
And like we need to be that source of perspective for dogs where like she needs to trust me that everything's going to be fine and then it's going to be fine and then she's going to trust me.
Right.
Like I can't talk to her and be like, "Here, I
Right.
promise you, if you just trust me, the only thing I can do is prove it to her."
Yes.
And so it's like that's really what this comes down to.
Right.
Is the more times that I do this and everything is fine,
Yes.
the less that she's going to fight me on it.
Right. And then the more times that she continues to get her way every time.
It gets worse.
Yes.
And that's why over the last couple years it probably has gotten worse.
Yes.
Is because she's like, oh, so I can just do whatever I want. And everybody just has to deal with it.
Right.
You just farted.
Be careful, she might poop on you again.
You know, that's okay. That happens sometimes. You'll be okay. She said, get that away from me. Don't come anywhere near me with that glove. Good job. See? Look at these toesies. We're going to trim these toenails eventually. Probably next week. She said, well, that sounds terrible. Good job. Very nice. Up we go again. Good girl. She's going to pass out after this.
Good.
She's going to be so tired.
Yeah.
So tired. Good job. Very nice. It was funny because I was reading through her paperwork.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this will be interesting. And then I looked and I was like, 12 pounds.
Exactly.
I was like, no one's just picked this dog up yet?
That's literally when I was at the vet the other day, and I was like almost in tears because they were like, you need to put this tone on her, and they wouldn't help me at all. And I was like, first of all, I would have brought her in something had I known you were going to make me do this. And why aren't you helping? You guys are the doctors. Like, don't you have gloves or something? And then I was like, what do they do with dogs that are 100 pounds doing this?
It's the same thing.
Because
The same thing.
12 pounds.
They just send them home. Yeah, that's really what it is. But yeah, I mean, these issues are, we get so many dogs that have these same issues.
That's what I thought. They told me, like, with the sedation, they're like, oh, because I'm like, do people really always do this with their dogs, like, to groom them? They're like, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Every month to do it. And I'm like, that's crazy.
And it's crazy that they would, as medical professionals, be fine with full sedation and what that does to your body and their organs than a little bit of stress.
Right.
Like, it's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so much better.
She's like,
She's like, I'm dissociating.
Yeah. I'll just stand with
Yeah, she's like, Mommy.
Why aren't you saving me?
Mommy. I know, you're doing a good job. You are, you're doing a good job. Mhm. See, isn't it incredible that you've survived?
Yeah, you're still alive.
You're still alive. Everything is fine. Nothing terrible is happening.
You got some gas?
Excuse you. She said, I already tooted, and then now I'm burping. Job. Nice twist move. Good job. Very nice. Very nice. Very good. And now me picking her up isn't me saying that like every little dog should tolerate being picked up by whoever all the time. It's just more so in the context of like she needs to be okay with what's going to happen at a grooming appointment. They're going to pick her up. They're going to put her on the table. They're going to do this. Like I have a Chihuahua myself, and you know, I even when I have him out and about, I explicitly tell people like, don't pick him up. Like he's not a toy. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to be picked up all the time. But should he be able to be tolerated, like picking? Yes, yes. That doesn't mean he can lash out anytime somebody does that to him.
Right. And like we do the same thing. Like anyone that approaches her, like kids, because obviously, like,
yes.
So cute. Can I pet her? I'm like, no. Like, but
good job. Yes. Yes. Yeah. You try your best to advocate for him. You're like a little.
Like,
I know, right? Old habits die hard, my girl. Oh, thank you. She said, just take it. I don't even want it anymore. Good job. Very nice, very nice. Good job. So good.
even with like when we were having issues with the separation anxiety, like they were so set on like, you know, don't leave her alone ever. I'm like, that's so unrealistic. Like how are you supposed to do that?
The thing.
I'm like, we have to go to work. Like
they're like, listen, to fix the problem, never let her face the problem.
I'm like, that's not gonna work.
They're like, if only I didn't have a job. I know, this is the sad paw. Don't worry. Just a little bit of that. Good job. Very nice. You can't bite me. It's not going to work. She said, take those gloves off and see what happens. There you go. Good job. And part of the reward, like what is the reward essentially in this moment when we can't use positive reinforcement, is negative reinforcement, where me grabbing her paw is uncomfortable, and then once she is compliant and relaxed, I let it go, and she gets it back. So the more that she fights me, the more I'm not letting you have your foot back. If you let me pick it up, and you're nice and calm like this, perfect, you can have it back. So there's still a reward function in this, but... And so then, if she does that, then I say, okay, well, I'm going to grab it again. She's like, well, that didn't work out the way I thought it was. Sure. Good job. You know what's interesting is that in the discussion of like medicating dogs, there's been studies that have come out now recently where because of the different medications that dogs are on, it like kind of evens out their distribution of like serotonin. Yeah. That then when you're trying to train a dog, which relies heavily on producing serotonin for them to want to do specific behaviors, it doesn't work. Really? Because it's always the same level, like no matter what. Yeah, that makes sense. So they're actually finding out that medicating dogs will actually inhibit the ability to like train them effectively in certain ways, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
There you go. Because her finding success is going to produce, obviously, like serotonin. Right. And if she's doped up on a bunch of meds that give that to her artificially, it's not going to matter as much to her. Right. And then the screaming, that's obviously, like, people hear that, and then that freaks them out, and then they think, oh no, I'm hurting her, and then all that kind of stuff, when it's really just an emotional response. Good job. Good job. There you go. See? That was a little dramatic. She's like, maybe I overreacted.
Right.
She's like, actually, maybe I overreacted a little bit.
Like, on her own during the night in the living room, but
Okay.
lately she's been staying in bed.
You can sleep in the bed still then.
She doesn't sleep all night. Like, she's just not a dog that lays down.
She like gets up and moves around and then, My Chihuahua's like that. It's obnoxious.
Yeah. Like, why don't you stay in the
He'll like burrow under the covers and then be like, I'm too hot. And then he'll come out and shake dramatically and then lay down. And then he's like, actually, I think I want to go back in there. And then he'll go back. So there's plenty of nights where I'm like, you're sleeping in your kennel tonight because I just want to sleep.
Yeah. She sleeps so much better when she has a haircut, though.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. You don't get as hot. Yeah. Nice work. Good job.